Okay guys, sorry about all that. We're finally going to get our stream started. Right here. There's our upcoming streams, just so you guys know. And let's get into it. Here we go.
Cabin camera looking out of the upper hatch of Orion.
Excuse me. We're about 13 minutes to splash down here.
We should be performing the skip entry maneuver momentarily. Good communications established with Orion.
Okay.
The second blackout period to begin about 2 minutes from now.
There we go, our second blackout period. 2 minutes long. We have subtitles on for you guys.
Orion is at the apogee of the skip entry maneuver, beginning the second in a series of role reversals, again banking maneuvers to bleed off excess inertia and to dissipate heat around the spacecraft.
Okay, here we go. I think we're about 80 seconds away from the next.
The start of the second blackout period, about 1 minute and 13 seconds from now, will come at an altitude of 270,000 feet, with Orion traveling about 16,400 miles an hour, range to splashdown less than 1,000 miles.
Okay. Mission Control Houston, we're just coming at 11 minutes to splashdown here with Orion.
Coming up on the start of the second blackout period.
Oh, the start of the second blackout period now. So we're going to be completely no information for about 2 minutes.
We should be in that second blackout period right now. Orion approaching a velocity of 20 times the speed of sound.
If
all goes as planned, we should be out of the blackout period with a solid lockup on the vehicle.
Orion is going Mach 20.
At 11:31 and 46 seconds a.m. Central Time.
Okay, everybody. We should be out of that blackout period in about 30 seconds.
This is Mission Control Houston, the airborne WB-57, one of the airborne assets to track Orion's return to Earth, has visual acquisition of the vehicle.
Okay, guys, that is
We
a
should be coming out of
big
this second and final
milestone.
blackout about 30 seconds from now.
30 seconds coming out of the final blackout, and wow, that is just amazing because they now have a visual sight of it from.
And helos
really cool
flying
point.
off the deck of the USS Portland now have a visual acquisition of Orion as well. At an altitude of 174,000 feet, traveling
Okay.
12,600 miles an hour,
feet, and
range to
they have a view on
splashdown
it from the
288
USS
statute
Portland.
miles.
Coming up on 8 minutes to splashdown. Is it a crumb on my screen, or is that? It's a crumb on my screen, okay. Turn up my screen light a little bit.
This view on the deck of the USS Portland.
Portland, Oregon. Or Portland,
and there is a view out of the cabin camera of Orion as it continues a series of role reversals. We have data back from the spacecraft. Flight Dynamics reports Orion straight and narrow on a true course toward its splashdown site. Forward bay cover jettisoning less than 3.5 minutes from now.
Okay.
150,000 feet off the ocean.
By the way, guys, this is landing right off the coast of San Diego. And then it's going to make its trip up to Edwards Air Force Base, where
Orion now traveling at Mach 10.
Were not the 747 that carried the space shuttle, but the first ever Airbus Beluga that was built for NASA back in the 60s, and the Airbus with the 4 propellers. It's really cool.
Orion's speed now down to Mach 6.
Down to Mach 6. We are currently at X-15 speeds. And that is just from the air pressure and the re-entry, slowing it down.
2 minutes until forward bay cover jettisoning.
20,000 meters a second. And as he just said, 2 minutes until the top cover jettisons.
Orion 100,000 feet now.
Orion at 100,000 feet. If only model rockets were this easy.
The spacecraft about to go subsonic.
About to go subsonic. That is great to hear. Okay. Okay.
45 seconds until forward bay cover jettisoning.
45 seconds until the forward bay cover.
Orion now at 50,000 feet.
Those parachutes. Down to 15,000 feet. Well, that was quick. From 100,000 to 50,000. 4 minutes to splashdown in about 30 seconds.
Forward bay cover jettisoning pyros are armed.
Okay, the pyros are armed. That's good.
25,000 feet.
There we go. And we got that jettison right there. We see those top two parachutes open up. Our drogue
Drogues
chutes
have been deployed.
that are going to eventually open up the bigger parachutes. There are the drogues.
Two good drogue chutes reported by the recovery team out in the Pacific. The descent rate is right on the money. Orion's velocity now down to 282 miles an hour. Range to splashdown
Down to
1.5 miles.
282 miles an hour from Mach 20.
10,000 feet now.
10,000 feet. Here we go.
And we're on mains. 5,000 feet.
There are the main parachutes. 5,000 feet, and they are opening
Reefing
up.
in progress.
There we go. And the main parachutes are fully deployed.
3 good main chutes for Orion. We have 3 fully inflated main chutes. Time to splashdown 90 seconds.
90 seconds to splashdown.
Perfect descent rate reported.
80 seconds. $70 seconds. 60 seconds. 50 seconds.
And there it is.
50
High over
seconds,
the Pacific,
50
America's new
seconds.
ticket to ride to the moon and beyond now in view.
Now
Orion
in view,
under its
look at
chutes
that.
descending towards splashdown.
About 40 seconds. $30 seconds.
Orion in the perfect orientation for splashdown, just seconds
20
away.
seconds. $10 seconds, probably.
1,000 feet.
There we go. Okay. See that we have breaking through those
Good descent
clouds
rate.
now. Going at a perfect vertical speed at about 8 meters a second. Slow that down to
500
4
feet.
right before touchdown. 500 feet. 400 feet. 300 feet. 200 feet.
Splashdown.
100 feet and splashdown.
From Tranquility Base to Taurus Littrow to the tranquil waters of the Pacific, the latest chapter of NASA's journey to the moon comes to a close. Orion, back on Earth. Unofficial splashdown time, 11:40 and 30 seconds a.m. Central Time.
11:40 and 30 seconds a.m. Central Time.
At a mission elapsed time of 25 days, 10 hours, 54 minutes, 50 seconds. That's unofficial. Splashing down off the coast of Baja, California.
25 days, 54 minutes, and 54 seconds, and 23 hours.
the crew module uprighting system now being inflated for the bags currently being inflated.
So those 3 to 4 bags that are on the top of the Orion capsule help flip it if there was crew inside and it splashed
and
down.
And we have a report that Orion is stable
right
1, upright, the way it should be.
That is the first time we have had a NASA contracted splashdown since the Apollo missions. Because
once again, splashdown occurring at 11:40 a.m. Central Time, 9:40 a.m. Pacific Time, west of Baja, California, after a textbook entry for the Orion spacecraft bringing its 25-and-a-half-day mission to an end.
That is amazing, and the reason why is that is, as I said before, the first NASA contracted splashdown since the 1970s with the Apollo, Soyuz, and Spacelab missions. So that's the first ever NASA contracted splashdown since the 70s with the Apollo capsule. And we went straight from Apollo to the space shuttle, which kind of cheated the system. So I think it's really cool that we have an old-timey
recovery beacon
rocket
is
with
on.
a regular
We have
splashdown.
confirmation that 4 out of the 5 crew module uprighting system bags have fully inflated, standing by for word on the 5th one.
Okay, 4 out of 5.
But Orion is in great shape, stable 1, just in the orientation that had been expected.
Oh, the camera's not really focused. That's great that we just had splashdown, and now that we're still doing a replay, we're going to go back to coverage with our favorite announcer. Here we are going to, I think his name is Jack, over at NASA on the USS
Control
Portland.
Center, where she was monitoring and, of course, managing her team in the midst of this recovery. So, Melissa, thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me. This is an exciting day.
What a day it is, right? We just had splashdown, and want to ask you, first of all, operationally, where do we stand and what do we have to go?
So we had a picture-perfect splashdown, and at this time we're gathering data. With the CM powered up, we'll get some flight test objective data on thermal conditioning, and we're doing some signal data with the tri-band beacons, making sure that we can see the beacons on the capsules and on the astronaut suits to prepare for Artemis 2. And once that is complete, the vehicle will be powered down by the Mission Control Center, and they'll hand that over officially to us here locally in the Pacific. And then we will approach the capsule and attach some lines to it and pull it into the back of the well deck.
And that's a delicate mission, right? Because you will be attaching lines, and through the use of Navy boats and then also a winch inside the well deck, and Navy sailors on the lines attached to it as well. It seems like a very delicate operation, especially getting in the well deck where waves will be sloshing around. And we've got already 4 to 5 foot seas out here in the Pacific.
Correct. So it is a delicate balance to try to control the capsule in the well deck with all the water that we have in there, and to softly land it on the cradle so that we can capture as much data from the heat shield as possible.
Now, as the capsule was coming down, just briefly tell me your reaction that moment that it splashed down.
From 40,000 miles away, where you saw the moon with the Earth in the background. And this morning, I mean, we've learned how to operate this vehicle.
So they're ready.
Yeah, look at that.
Watching these teams precisely perform these recovery operations is amazing, and so I think we're going to have a really, really great day. I'm going to be traveling to San Diego to watch the ship come in port in a couple days, so I look forward to seeing that capsule on board the well deck ship.
Janet, there's a
today. One quick update and note: the recovery
this is going to be our
team was looking at the
commander for the
possibility
next
of
Artemis 2
recovering
mission right
the parachutes as well as the forward bay cover, but that is not going to happen this time. They did mark their locations, but they did slip below the.
away from the USS Portland, which is approaching the vehicle, as well as Navy recovery teams. Back on the USS Portland, Daryl Nail from the Kennedy Space Center with the Exploration Ground Systems folks is with Captain John Ryan, the commanding officer of the vessel. Daryl?
His name is Daryl. There we go.
Thanks, Rob, and Captain John Ryan here. Thanks for making the time to come and join us from off the bridge.
Absolutely.
Appreciate you being here. So far, this has been pretty amazing in terms of the completion of the mission. From your vantage point, how did you see it, and what are you seeing now?
Daryl
right now we have the orbital is in the water. Right now we're kind of in that 2 to 3 hour window where NASA and the Navy's EOD teams are conducting some tests. We're getting imagery
and take 2 to 3 hours doing some tests before they actually pull it into the boat.
Astronaut missions. And from perspective, honestly, I think this is one of the coolest things I've ever gotten to do. I've been in the Navy 23 years. I've done a lot of missions and I've been all over the world, but to be part of this NASA mission today is probably one of the coolest things I've ever been part of.
That's impressive, and that says a lot. As we look just behind us, Captain Ryan, and we see the operation currently in a moment of pause where they're waiting for the capsule to vent off the rest of its ammonia using its cooling system. We can see the Navy boats in the water. Currently, you've got the ship on a course heading going around this operation. What has been your instruction to your team commanding the ship?
So I just basically wanted to keep the ship within visual distance of the orbital and our teams in case they need anything. It also is providing, let's be honest, a lot of people are out here and they're super excited about this. Let's provide visual opportunities for people to get photos and get their digital part of being the history of this event. So we've a lot of time and effort and training and years of work went into this. So I want everybody to kind of get their moment, and we're out here getting ready to.
Thank you for tuning into the Chess
Channel. We'll be landing the helicopter soon, and just being a part of it.
Certainly, watching the sailors as it splashed down, they seem to really